to the start of that second round. The riders are already behind us. Course walk for round 2 is officially underway, which means the riders are now measuring their strides. They are trying to work out inch perfectly where their takeoff needs to be, where their landing needs to be, and how they can perfect their second round to ensure that their team finishes as high up the table as possible. As it stands at the moment, intriguing opening round of Global Champions League. Shanghai Swans lead on 4 penalties. They are the fastest of the teams on 4. New York Empire, perhaps somewhat of a surprise. They find themselves in the second best on the second quickest 4. Stars, powered by the Iron Dames, in 3rd place on 4. And then a big group of teams currently on 8 penalties. The Istanbul Warriors, Saint-Tropez Pirates, Paris Panthers, Riesenbeck, Scandinavian Vikings, and the Monaco Comets as well, which is what brings us to our guest at the moment, as Angelica Augustin Zanotelli joins us live in the studio to give us some thoughts, to give us some reaction. Angelica, welcome to the studio. It looked like it was pretty tough going. Give me some opening thoughts, some opening reaction to round 1.
Yeah, I agree. There was a lot of faults. When you walked the course, it looked pretty nice. You couldn't say exactly there was anything special that's going to cause so many mistakes. It was a very good built course, I think. Was faults on many different places. Yeah, it will be interesting to see now for the second round what he builds.
Is that course designing genius to make a walkable course look good, that brings up challenges? Is that smart work from Vizani? What is happening there that you can walk a course, think, doesn't seem too aggressive, and then we see the fences fall? How is that coming about?
Absolutely. That's what I think is very good course building, is that when you walk the course and you think it's actually looking pretty nice, and then it comes faults everywhere. It was not crazy big. The lines were tricky, but still everything was very fair built to the riders and the horses, and still came a lot of faults. I think that was really, really well built.
Talk to us about Calvino, still only 11, and I know that 11 is not super young, but it still has loads of time for growth. Talk to me about Calvino, talk to me about a character. What kind of stallion is Calvino?
Yeah, Calvino is a really lovely horse. He's very new for me, it's the 3rd show only. I like him a lot. He's very kind for being a stallion. He is big strided, very, very scopy. For me now, last week was my first 150, now my first 155, so I still need to get to know him, to know how to ride him in the best way. Today both mistakes were mine.
Riders always say that. It's never the horse's fault. It's always the rider's fault. I've learned that from all the riders. It's always you, it's never the horse.
Yeah.
How has that relationship developed? You say it's very new. Have you seen growth already from when you started to where you find yourself now over the last few shows? Have you seen good signs?
Yeah, definitely. He was last week in Centaur Park. He jumped clear in the 150 class, which was a really difficult track. So that's actually was the reason why I put him in the first round today. Because he felt so good last week. I feel like every round I get to know him more and more, and I'm really excited for the future with him.
Talk to us about round 2. What has the conversation been like in between the break? What has been said? What is the conversation?
I think it's more curiosity. What will he build after so much faults in the first round? Yeah, a lot of questions. How difficult will it be? And I think sometimes it's also more exciting when there is a bit more faults in the first round, and then it leaves it a little bit open with the results for the second round. So I think everyone is still, or most of them are still in the fight for the top placings.
Okay, well, best of luck to Monaco Comets for the upcoming second round. Angelica Augustin
so
Zanotelli joins us live in the studio as we take a moment to quickly go to Rosie Turner to give us some thoughts. Angelica, you may go. You are released from duty. Thank you very much. Angelica Augustin Zanotelli joining us to have a conversation about the Monaco Comets, powered by the Iron Dames, getting her thoughts and her reaction as well to Calvino in particular. Iron Dames Calvino, still a new partnership developing with this 11-year-old stallion, and Zanotelli is starting to work on that and get a better and better relationship. Rosie, let's talk about what's happening now in GCL round 2. Already some thoughts and some reaction from Angelica. Talk to me about what's happening inside the ring there.
Yeah, well, the course walks just started, so everyone's really hustling, bustling and concentrating hard at this stage. So I've yet to talk to any of the riders about what they think, but I will grab them in just a minute. But we've got quite a few changes into round 2. We've actually got 3 teams that make no changes whatsoever, and if we just go through them, they are the Scandinavian Vikings, Riesenbeck International. They often don't make any changes, and of course they only had 1 down each, so hopefully they can improve on that. And the Paris Panthers as well, who had a great start to round 1. They also make no changes. But I thought some of the changes that we are seeing, we're seeing a few horse changes, not as many rider changes, actually. But we're just looking at the Shanghai Swans, and they've both got the same rider again. Ben Mayer and Daniel Deusser come in for the Shanghai Swans, but they bring in a full force of horses. We've got Point Brink and Otello coming in as well. And of course, they're currently top of the leaderboard after round 1. So hopefully those new horses, fresh legs, can make sure that they stay on top of the podium. I'm sure they'll be wanting as many points as they possibly can. I want to look at the Can Stars as well, if I can just find them, because they've only got 1 change in there. That's Katrin Eckermann just bringing in a new horse. Sophie Hinners seems to be flying at the moment with all of her horses, so she will stick with her horse as well. But multiple horses and changes, but I am surprised to see three teams with no changes. We're never surprised to see Riesenbeck with no changes, because that's often their tactic, is to stick with the same riders, Mark.
Absolutely. Rosie, before I let you go and grab some of those riders, another question on Shanghai Swans, because we talked to them at the start of the season a lot. They were a very early championship contender. They still very much are a championship contending team. We spoke about the Istanbul Warriors having the luxury for choice, but let's talk about the luxury of choice for the Shanghai Swans, to have Daniel Deusser, to have Ben Mayer, to have a multitude of horses available, to both bring in fresh horses, to be the last team to go. This surely here today in London needs to be a prime opportunity for them to cash in and win yet another stage, surely.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, Mark, totally. They've got such amazing horse and rider power in their team. We spoke to them earlier on in the year when they were leading, and they said it's never a great thing to lead so early on, because there's only really one way to go. You either stay there or you drop below. But it seems like they're on the up again at the beginning of the second half of the season. They seem like they're ready, they're competitive. As Daniel Deusser said to me, anything can happen, but what a line-up for them to be coming into the second round.
Absolutely. Let's not forget that Max Kuhn, Christian Ulm and the likes are hanging in and around the wings as well, not necessarily here in London, but that just talks about the absolute fortune of wealth that they have. Rosie Turner, go on and grab some riders. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time. Let's maybe talk about virtual rankings, if that's possible, because we love being able to play that game at this time. If you're new to the virtual rankings, well, quite self-explanatory. If things were to end right now in a virtual world, what would the overall GCL rankings look like? Well, the Shanghai Swans would then all of a sudden move up to second place. Falkenswaard United, who are bottom of the standings here in London today, would drop down to third. But it's the Can Stars, powered by the Iron Dames, the defending GCL champions, that would jump into first place. Wouldn't that be intriguing? Prague Lions would hold on to the top 4 for a GCL Super Cup semi-final. Riesenbeck International down in 9th. Saint-Tropez Pirates and Madrid in Motion and even New York Empire all potentially closing out those teams from 5 to 9, trying to chase down the Prague Lions, trying to chase down that GCL Super Cup semi-final positions. Scandinavian Vikings down in 16th place. They are flirting with danger there with the Paris Panthers. Either of those two teams potentially not going to the GC Prague playoffs later on this year. If you finish in the bottom position, there is no GCL Super Cup semi-final for you at all. Let's get some thoughts then. Once again, go back to Rosie. Geir Gulliksen standing by, giving some thoughts on GCL round 2. Rosie, let's get the thoughts of Geir Gulliksen.
Yeah, thank you, Margir. Alongside me, as you said, Scandinavian Vikings make no changes going into round 2. What were the reasons for that?
No, we have only 2 riders, so we don't have too much to choose from. So, and Amanda only has an 8-year-old, so she has only 1 horse who can jump this size. And Mate thought it was good for the other one to do 2 rounds. So I think I think it's good. Both horses jump well in the first round.
Talk to me about the second round, because we saw so many polls coming down in the first round. Do you think the second round's going to be quite similar?
Yeah, it's tough enough, this class. It's big, you know, and then, okay, you start off with a nice vertical, and then I think most people would do 9, 1 to 2, and then you go round here to number 3 here, behind us, and then you will have, if you go round, you could have a nice 6. It's not short, it's not long, it's just nice 6. But yeah, I think you have to land and then move a little bit so you can hold on the 6. Big oxer going out, so you have to put leg on there. Then keep going round. Jump the oxer and the vertical there, and then it will be nice 5, I think, up to there. Then a little bit short 3 to the plank behind there. Then there's a long way to the triple combination. It's a very big oxer going in, so you have to make sure that you have a good, not too flat or not too slow, you know, to get a good strike going in there, and then just wait for the 2, wait for 1. And then it's going to be either outside 9 or inside 8, I think, to the oxer there. A little bit depends on the horse. Then you go round here. And you have the brown vertical there, and then there's a nice 6, I think, to the 11. And then I think most people will do outside 7 to the next one, and then for the last you ride off your eye, you know.
The last line, you just kick and hope for the best gear. It's like you're an encyclopedia on this course already. Thank you for chatting it through with us. I think it's going to be another tough round today, but what more would you expect here in London for the GCL?
Geert Gulliksen, the encyclopedia. I love that, Rosie, and you are spot on, by the way. Wonderful knowledge from Mr. Gulliksen there inside the ring for GCL round 2. As it stands, Shanghai Swans will be the last team to go. They are in pole position. They are the team to catch. Falcons Right United look to lose ground on the championship, and the Can Stars look to cash in on those faults of Gilles Thomas and Marcus Eiling earlier on. But all of that can change over the course of the evening as we now get ready for the start of Global Champions League round 2.
Of the River Thames, the weather is on our side. It is a beautiful summer sunny day here in London, and as ever it has brought out the crowds. A hugely popular event that'll be sold out over the weekend once more, and of course plenty of the great and good as well enjoying the finery of hospitality. So wherever they're sat, wherever you are watching and joining us from, I can promise you with GCTV you have the best seats in the house to keep up with it all. The competition already underway with that opening round of the GCL, and now we get into the individuals before the second round. Over this man's challenging track, he got it spot on in round 1. What's going to happen here in this one? 13 numbered obstacles, 16 jumping efforts. The Italian maestro himself, Giuliano Visali, sets these courses as he does in London each year, and he's given them a time allowed of 82 seconds with that 16 different jumping efforts while they're out there. As ever, individuals go first. 105,000 euros worth of prize money, and plenty of star names, plenty of changes in the teams as well. We'll come to that a little later. Abdul Saeed there, of course, a winner already on the Longines Global Champions Tour, won the Doha Grand Prix. Niels Bruynseels having a little look around. Sophie Hinners is going again in the team. Ben Mayer and Scott Brash, look at that, the British Golden Partnership. And there's Peter de Vos, and always goes well here, a former winner of the Grand Prix on Bombs Toupee de la Roque. Bassam Mohammed out there for the Doha Falcons, having a little look at the top rail, just giving it a roll. Henriks come on into the team. That could play to their advantage a little later. Powerhouse partnership of Simon Deleste and Henrik van Eckermann for the team looking to win again. But that all to come. Let's concentrate on the individuals. There's 21 of them in before we turn to the teams. Zoe Conter is going to kick things off. And then, as you can see, the likes of Thibaut Philipparts, of course, he's come into the teams, but he'll ride as an individual. The young man from Belgium, Gregory Waterley, here with James Bond de Hay. Some big British names as well, with the Whittaker name appearing, the Charles name appearing, with Jack, and of course with Sienna. But let's not forget the likes of Harry as well. There with Casco Bleu, the ride, of course, Sherlock took him to the win in the Grand Prix here last year. We saw a little earlier. Then you get into all the riders that will be involved in the teams, but you can see the firepower, the horse and rider combination strength is massive with the likes of Beauville, NOP, H&M Indiana. You've got Casual, DV. You've got F1 USA. You've got Shad George. The horses here today are some of the very best. Of course, combine that with the best riders, and you're in for a tremendous afternoon of sport. All of the riders going, whether they're team or not, will of course be ranked individually. We'll concentrate on that to begin with and then move our attention over to the teams, and the teams coming back in reverse order of merit when we get into them. So that leading team from the Shanghai Swans are Daniel Deusser and Scott. Sorry, Daniel Deusser and Scott. Daniel Deusser and Ben Mayer will be the last up from the Swans. There is the backdrop. Look to the likes of the Shard and the London Eye. Closer, of course, we have the likes of the power station at Chelsea Bridge, and everybody now just having a little moment of calm. We've seen some tremendous entertainment down there on the arena floor between the rounds, and again this event here in London, an absolute destination event, one that is and has been running since 2017, the first time we came here to the Royal Hospital Chelsea, or some 300 years or so. This tremendous building backdrop to the beautiful arena here has been part of the London architecture and skyline, originally designed by Sir Christopher Wren, and of course home to the world famous and of course proud heritage of the Chelsea pensioners, and we'll I'm sure see them. They'd love to visit, and we are very grateful for their hospitality and opening of the doors once more here in London for us to enjoy. Well, everyone's had a chance to grab a snack between the rounds, and now they're settling in for what should be a tremendous evening of sport. The individual lineup kicking things off is exciting, and then we'll see. I mean, the team competition, the GCL here, is going to be a firecracker. This is leg 9 of 15 over the course of the season. This now is the sort of starting point of the second half. We've had that break since Monaco, and now we are going to be at these legs thick and fast from London to Valkenswaard, Riesenbeek, of course the new York, New Jersey round, that new event, Vienna, Rome and Riyadh, before everybody heads then back to Prague this year come November. So let's go and let's get a little idea how this track is going to work and going to ride. It's going to be a partnership for Belgium that kick things off, and will of course she rode in the opening round of the teams for the Mexico Amigo. Zoe Conter has H5 Cacophony, the mare by Chaco Blue. Seen them a few times together, jumping in the Grand Prix in Shanghai, in Cannes, more recently in Monte Carlo. It's a ride she only started with back sort of in the spring of this year, and it's a combination that seemed to be bringing things together rather nicely. So let's have a little look how this course unfolds. Back to fence 3. 6 strides, a little bit short. Single stride through that double upright parallel 4A, 4B. Now the water tray sat under this beautiful marble upright, and then down to what is, again, quite a narrow fence, the global champions. 3 strides over that plank. Combination coming into play. 2 strides, upright, 1 stride, plank coming out as well, 1m60. 7 strides on that curve. Of course, you're going right past the in-gate. And these fences just thick and fast. They just never stop coming. Oh, and sadly, it's gone down. And still another to jump. Crowd thinks she's fitting, but not yet. The violins as the final fence. 77.29. Time as ever looking too bad. When it comes to time penalties, I don't think we'll see too much concern from that side. And H5, Chakafini there, going around for a single fence down with Zoe. Just gave that front rail just a tiny little tap. Shame. Belgium go next. Thibaut Philipparts, the Philipparts name with a tremendous leader. There's, of course, brother Nicolas. Of course, brother Olivier are competing at some point, not here this week, but Thibaut also now is part of the Saint-Tropez Pirates team. He came in on the transfer system, but they're just letting him find his feet this week, it seems, and he's staying out of the team competition. He's riding Pitman. Van Aert Lilieveld in such a brilliant round earlier. Unfortunately, though, he's repeated what he did and picked up a score of 4. The brilliance of his round was the speed of his round. He was the first ever winner of the Longines Global Champions Tour overall series when you go all the way back to 2006. Total of 16, 74.48. Pitman and Van Aert Lilieveld. That's the second to go with that 10-year-old gelding by Diamant de Semeli. We're going to have 3 from Belgium all in a row at the front of the line in this Friday evening competition. There's the first of the fences going from the point of view of Thibaut. And there's Ludo and Nicolas watching on. Well, the next to go, Belgium's Gregory Waterley, James Bondahay, the 14-year-old stallion that won the big Grand Prix at Windsor this year, loves coming to the UK. Of course, he's a man that has won 4 Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix in his career with Corrie, Latinas and Nevados. Can he have James Bondahay come Sunday? To a good start. He'll want a good result in this class, but he'll also want to know he's set himself up for Sunday. Picking up the pace as well. Look at that, 27.2 kilometers per hour as he flies towards the line, and there we have it. We didn't wait long. 66.53 seconds, the opening clear round. Oh, looked pretty solid from Gregory Waterley. James Bondahay. But perfect. He's quite a big horse, is James Bond, but he always amazes me because he is really quick and he can turn so well. And he's certainly one of the stars of the sport. Gregory always able to get the best from him. Beautifully done. That's stallion now 14 by Diamant de Semeli. Well, Lily Atwood and Johnny Walker, the 11-year-old gelding by Harley VDL. Lily no stranger to the GCL, of course, and came through with the wonderful under-25 system they have, giving youth and young jockeys a chance to progress, as each of the teams have to have at least one rider on them, and she's had that opportunity. British team rider. Never been slow either. She's not as quick as Gregory, and it shows you the sort of difference and how fast Gregory Waterley was in these early stages, because Lily's still putting quite a nice, neat, tidy round of jumping. Should be very pleased, I'm sure. Look at that. Very happy indeed. Big smile from Lily Atwood. Johnny Walker goes clear. 74.28 versus 66.53 that came from Gregory Waterley. Big gap. Should be delighted with that. Really strong performance to jump that clear. Remember, this track standing at a height of 1.60 meters. Well, next up from Denmark, it's going to be the turn of Caroline Redder Pedersen. She's riding here with Golden Eye. She's come into the Stockholm Hearts, powered by H&M Wheel of Horses team for the second half of the season. She rode Golden Eye. Ooh, that's a shame, gone down. So she rode Golden Eye in the first round of the GCL today to finish on a score of 8. She's being replaced by Malin Bayer Jansen and H&M Indiana for the second round, as that team look to try and up the ante when we go into that second round of the GCL today. She's just 24 years of age. Another to add to the score, so it comes to the last at a total of 16. And that goes as well. It's a big track, 20 the score. Golden Eye's second trip of the day. Caroline Redder Pedersen and Golden Eye. So we stay with 2 clear rounds. And to see overall how this course begins to evolve. I think a couple of early clears was encouraging. Just a tiny tap. Plenty more to come from her over the rest of the season and the rest of the week as well, I'm sure. A little bit disappointed with the way today's gone now from Austria, as we watch Caroline move back. Now Katarina Romberg and Guma 5. Came here as the number 3 within the Shanghai Swans team, although they've stuck with Daniel and Ben going into round 2, which allows her the freedom of not having to worry too much about the teams today. She can concentrate on the individual outcome. Kuma 5. It's 13-year-old now by Comme Il Faut. Championship ride for her, including the Europeans just recently. Others gone. A little bit sticky over those fences. She's come inside just to try and cut the time down slightly. She, of course, has got clusters here as well. We saw a little earlier on. I would have thought Cuba maybe would have aimed for the Grand Prix. Again, these fencers take some jumping these second rounds of the GCL. These big €100,000+ prize funds certainly not being given away easily. And Katarina Romberg, again, can tell a lot, I always think, when the riders finish. I mean, I'm always careful to read too much into their face, but it's not hard to spot disappointment. That was disappointment. So, one out, one in. Now from the Dominican Republic, and a rider that is part of the Gladiators team as well is Maria Gabriela Bergagasso. Riding here with Jadot Flamenco. Now this partnership put in a quite brilliant round just, what, an hour ago. And Gladiators at the back end of that at GCL round one, and these two jumping her clear. And she's going again, and a little bit bigger, not as easy. Not that it was that easy in the first round, to be honest. What did we get out of the team riders? There were, what, 34 riders? Only 6 of them went clear. She's one of 2 new signings in the Gladiators team for the second half of the season, alongside Petter Fredriksson. She decides to retire. She's jumped a lot of fences now, knows that this class hasn't worked out. She's proved everything she needed with that clear round a little earlier on in the opening round of the GCL. And Jadot Flamenco, Maria Gabriela Bergagasso there from the Dominican Republic, just saving themselves for later this weekend. Of course, we've got 2 big days of sport over the weekend as well. Saturday, some big jumping competitions here, and then it'll build into Sunday's Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix for London 2025. And Harry Charles will be trying to defend the title that he won here last year. But he'll have some stiff opposition from the other British riders alongside those from around the world. And what a summer it has been for Robert, of course, son of John, who we'll see in a minute or two. But this is Vimento, winner of the King George, the 5th Gold Cup, the historic gold trophy for the 5-star Grand Prix at Hickstead just a couple of weeks ago, and Rob as well this year, also winning the Hickstead Derby, and then coming to London and having a fence down. But today is not, again, the aim for Vimento. That will be Sunday. This stallion by Argento. It's the second time he won the King George. Of course, was bred by his father John. today. Focus moves on, but so that's a combination that will come alive in the big class, although Rob would have wanted a bit more from that, I'm sure, as well. But as I said, there's an inevitable strong lineup of British riders mixed in with the natural quota. You get that opportunity, and he's done such a brilliant job producing that horse. Some great owners in Caroline and Stephen Blatchford. Well, next up is a rider from the USA. There's been having a strong year, Natalie Dean, here with Crescendo. Gets to ride as part of the Cannes Stars team in the GCL, although we brought her into play today. And they've stuck with Sophie and Catherine. MBZ coming into this triple combination. That's that fence that goes down for a partnership that were in the top 6 together in the Global Grand Prix in Paris back at the start of July. On the 4 here in London on their opening day for Natalie Dean and Crescendo MBZ, the 13-year-old gelding by Clinton. So there for the United States. 9 gone. And still as it stands, it is Gogody Waterley that leads the way on Bon James Bond Hay. His time was 66.53. I mean, nobody else, I should point out, no one else has gone under 70 seconds, and Gregory sat there in front on 66.53. What a round it was. I mean, there's only one other clear, of course, Lily Out with the British Strider at 74.28. The clear round still not coming easily, but a long way to go. Now from Spain, Manuel Fernandez Saro, Azilis de Mencil, who's part of Madrid Emotions team a little bit earlier on with this horse. Steps aside for Michael in the second round. He jumped for 8 in round 1. He's gelding by Classic Bois Margot. First part of the double. Seen a few have that down now. 6 strides down from fence 3. Down, comfortable apart from that, jumping rather nicely. He wasn't too disappointed with the way the opening round of the GCL went, despite the faults. Mesnil finishing on a total of 4 in this round. Best of the 4s as well, 75.36 on the clock. But the number of clears does not change. But watching on, of course, he knows he's coming into play in that next round of the GCL that's getting ever closer. Helicopters flying overhead. Oh, what a great view of this man, the legend that is John Whittaker. 70 this past week, he turned, still at the top. John here with Quadamerica Unique de Framport. Now 17, this gelding by Zandor that, of course, took John to second place here in London in 2021. John also finished second back in 2015 when he was riding Argento. And sadly, having that first part of the double down that's starting to become an awfully careful fence. Then, even with the faults, he'll still get one of the biggest cheers of the day. And more popular, especially here in London. Quite America, though, Unique de Framport finishing with one down. And, John, as ever, looking very, very calm. He's still so competitive. And he's still able to compete with the best of them. Unfortunately, the score, though, is 4. So, not to be at the moment for the British riders and the British fans. That could yet change, although the next up is for Germany. Put in a lovely round, actually, in the competition a little bit earlier on here this afternoon and in London. Germany's Tiara Vietcher riding Oliver van Heike. This is a gelding 11-year-old by Esplier van die Heike out of an Argentinius mare. Put in a really smart, clear round. As the bell gets this round underway. She finished in the top 7. She was in 7th place with that round a little bit earlier on. She gave the first pole a real roll. Giving this course the respect it deserves. She's not trying to cut the corners, giving the fences space, and sadly a middle down. She's part of Risenbeck International's lineup as well over the course of the season. Today they stick with Max and Christian in that second round, and Oliver van die Heike heading up with a total of 12 in 76.34. Got a long way into the course before the problems appeared. Well, the next to go is another British challenger. This is Jack. They're both Jack. You've got Jack Whitaker and Jack JL. It's a stallion by Quasimodo. 11 years of age. It's a ride that he's sort of only really started with internationally, well, it would have been a couple of months ago, former rider Jonathan Dixon, but this is without question a bit of a step up today for these two. They've been jumping a couple of 150s. They did jump a 155 Grand Prix at Bolesworth back in the summer in June. The first time a 160 for these two, and it's the first part of the combination. This is an exciting ride, though, going forward for Jack. Standing only down by the stands, and that is 2 fences down at the end of the round. It's a total of 8 for Jack and Jack. 76.32 is the time on the clock, so still quite early in their time together, certainly at this level. Jack stepping things up. The combination look like they've got the confidence to go on. It's certainly got the ability. Just unfortunately today leaving with a couple of fences on the floor. But that has been done by the best of them, although not yet by the best of all of this class. We've still only got 2 clear rounds. Lily Atwood, and Gregory is a mile out in front of everyone else. Who can bring him closer? Now, Eugenia Grimaldi. He rides Leandro Nita. This 9-year-old, of course, he's come in as part of the Paris Panthers team. And he didn't have a great start to today. It's one of the younger horses in the class, but already looking a little bit more settled than they did earlier on. Stallion is by Detroit VDL. Finishing on a score of 28, there was improvement and a little bit more confidence at the fences than there was a little earlier with Leandro Nita. And Gina Grimaldi, though, struggling. But again, it's stepping these horses up. And sadly, that hasn't quite worked today for the Italians. So Lucas readjusts in a moment to the next to go as we get a lovely shot out there over the skyline, looking out towards the city here in London. And down there on the arena floor is combination for Germany. Hamliade riding at Groves, Commander Bond. It's got a pretty decent track record against the clock. This is quite a lineup when it comes to those you're competing against, and I'm just not sure how many are going to get anywhere near what Gregory's gone and done. If you see the split go green at any point, well, you're not going to have to worry about it this time because the first fence has gone down. But if we do, and when we do see the split go green, we'll know that they are also at that sort of pace. But Gregory is, for the moment at least, made it awfully difficult. Over the Lugano fence. Of course, this is their second round of the day as well. The score, 6 more individuals left to go before we turn our attention into the team competition. All those individuals, all those team riders also figuring in terms of individual placings, so got that to bear in mind. What works for them also works for the team, i.e. if you're quick and you're clear, it's going to benefit you from an individual standpoint and benefit your team, so it works. Although when you're in the teams, of course, you've just got that added pressure of perhaps sometimes you do need to go for a slightly more steady but clear round. We'll come to that. Next to go, a partnership for Great Britain with a young lady that was in quite brilliant form just a short while ago here, because this is Sienna Charles, and what a round she put in the first of the 5-star classes to end up second. And the only person that beat her was that magical round from Scott Brash. So it was a British one too in terms of the individual standings. Now, Sienna has Stardust, 15-year-old mare by Jacko Blue. She's certainly no slouch against the clock, and all the riders know that. She's very, very quick. She has been ever since she was on ponies, to be fair to her. Clear round still not coming easy. Lily Atwood's clear, despite the fact it was quite steady relative to Gregory's, is keeping that British rider up in second place and very well positioned at the moment. Curious where her time would have put her. She'd have been 75.68, so she would have been just a little bit slower than Lily. In the end, she joins that growing lineup of scores of 4, which there are now 5, and she slots into the middle. Sienna Charles going into the top 5. John Whitaker, the fastest on 4, is holding on to third place ahead of Fernandez Saro in 4th, Sienna in 5th, and Natalie Dean, Zoe Conter, the other 2 riders on 4 penalties, sitting behind those 2 clear rounds. Sienna knows her brother Harry is still to come in the individual element of this round. Next to go, as you can see, just heading out there to the steward's check. It's now the turn of Czech rider Anna Kelchrova riding Firefox Gem. 10-year-old standing by Chaco Rouge. As part of the Prague Lions, it means they've remained unchanged, going with Peter de Vos, Niels Brunseels again in the GCL round 2. 10-year-old stallion by Jacques Rouge. The past few weeks jumping in Longines. She hasn't been riding this horse particularly long, of course, former ride of Marlon Zanatelli. I saw Marlon ride this horse in the Grand Prix in Shanghai on the Global Tour back at the sort of beginning of the season. Still time to get to know each other for these two. There'll be more to come. They just need a little bit more time together, those two. Firefox Gem and Anna Garoroba. Today wrapping up on a total of 12. And the more that I see this course catching riders out in different ways, on different horses at different points, the more excited I am for the GCL leg that's coming our way that second round, because it's so finely balanced, and with clear rounds not coming easy for anyone today. Didn't win round one in that course a little earlier. They're certainly not looking like they're coming that way this time around either. It will mean that, well, there could be some big swings when we get there, but we're not there yet. There are still 4 more individuals to go, then the little pause before we go into the GCL. Now, Andreescu, of course, in terms of GCL competition, rides for the Basel Cosmopolitans. And today with Eureka VA. And this again is a horse he's only started with internationally back at the sort of spring of this year. We did see them in Saint-Tropez and in Paris together, jumping in some of the supporting competitions. But 160, big course for them both. They wouldn't have a huge amount of experience together at this height. He really helped his horse. Keeping that balance. Giving the horse a chance to jump these fences when he gets to them. We know he's not going to beat the time of Gregory Waterley, but I tell you what, if he can jump the clear. No, 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 no. Curse of the commentator, perhaps, we don't know, but either way, the last fence goes down, 76-77, and instead of going into third, he goes into sixth. Andreas, bad luck, but they all count equal. And he'd done such a fine job, just balancing, he got a VA where he needed to. But he just, I mean, that is a tall old fence. And of course, you're right up against the side of the arena with the crowd at the hospitality end, right up next to you. So hard to keep the focus. So, from Denmark to Austria in a moment, the next to go. There is Andreas taking his coat off, and now it's Austria. And it'll be the green coat and colours of Gottfried Buck, the Austrian, easy to spot in this green top that he's famous for wearing. This is his top ride as well. Lecreton Nexial 5th, his Olympic ride from Paris last summer. He's got a good track record at 160 in Grand Prix, especially recently jumping well in Dinant. stallion now by Balubet Drouet. Using all their body to get over the marble upright, and still clear as they come over the plank, and he's going to try and challenge a little bit with the time because he's come inside here to the combination. There it goes. Well, 10 out of 10 for effort, at least he went for it. Pacific at 1:72 in terms of time was one of the quicker times we've seen. So obviously still quite a margin away from what we saw from Gregory Watterley, but it's good enough to put Geoffrey Punk as the best of those on 4. So sitting in behind Lily Atwood, the other clear round, but a good few seconds faster there than John Whittaker. He now drops back into 4th place. Bar for that pole, it would have been very different for Gerfried. Two to go in the individual rankings, or in the individual element of this competition. It's going to be the turn of the man that won the Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix in Doha again this year, Abdul Saeed, with his 9-year-old Calvaro, gelding by Cascadello. And he jumped in the first round of the teams. Part of the Istanbul Warriors lineup this season. We only had one fence down in that earlier round, and he's had another fence down in this one, that first part of the double. It suggests has fallen more than any other fence. But he's the first to get anywhere near on terms of time, even with the fences down. He's a little blind off that corner, that Prague fence. Again, showing the pace that would at least challenge for second, but it's a total of 8, and down to 10th place goes Abdul Saeed. So that was his 9-year-old Calvaro, and therefore nothing changes. Still just 2 combinations out of the 20 that have gone so far have managed to negotiate a clear round out of Emiliano Vizzali's course. It's I've mentioned a few times the first part of the double of 4A has gone down, but we've seen the combination causing problems. We've seen other fences falling. The last has gone. It is very well spread out. A really interesting challenge as ever from Emiliano. The key to the design. Now, Harry Charles, Casco Blue. The British team, Olympic gold medal winner from last year. What a few weeks that was, from Olympic gold to winner of the Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix of London, and then comes back to London off at 2nd place in the GCT in Monaco recently. That all, of course, was Sherlock. Now Casco Blue, though, could suit this sort of class. Happy to come inside. fact, he's nip and tuck on time here with Gregory Waterley. Harry Charles has decided he's going to try. Well, no, he can't do it. Oh, what a shame. Fastest of them all, 27.1 on the clock of speed, but 68.90, even then he was still a little bit off what Gregory did with James Bond, but Casco Blue charging along, and Harry Charles, full marks Harry went for it, but he ends up on 4. Get another little look. Still jumping over to the right while asking as well a little bit for the turn to the left. It's an awkward little fence because it is angled for you to jump it over to the right, but of course you want to turn to the left, so it's that balance. But the balance at the moment is certainly Gregory Waterley that's got it right, because he leads the way with James Bond de la Haye on 66.53. Billy Atwood, the only other clear round so far from the British rider, sitting in second, and then Harry Charles in third. So let's wait and see. We will be back for the second round of the GCL very, very soon here on GCTV. Welcome to an extraordinary weekend of elite equestrian sport here on GCTV. We are getting set for the second round of the GCL, the Global Champions League here in London. And once again, we find ourselves in the heart of this most magnificent of cities. And it is certainly set up to be a magnificent class. Looking forward to what history is written this year in the wonderful grounds here of the Royal Hospital Chelsea, right in the heart of London. 300 years this building has stood here, and since 2017 the Global Champions League has been part of that history book. Well, the crowds have poured in, they've enjoyed round one, and it is very finely set up to find out who's going to join the Roll of Honour in 2025. The Istanbul Warriors looking to defend the title. The Stockholm Hearts, of course, would love the opportunity to win it again. You look back at the likes of the Berlin Eagles, the Shanghai Swans are in the lead going into this second round. Can they hold the lead? We're going to wait to find out, because there are 3 teams tied 11 on faults. Yes, of course, stacked in reverse order of merit, but when you look at the way it's lined itself up, we've got 3 on 4, 7 on 8, 6 on 12 and 1 on 16. It is as tight as you like coming back in round 2, but as it stands coming into this 9th leg of the season, it is Volkenswaard United with those 3 wins so far that top the board, ahead of the Cannes Stars, the 2024 Series champions and winners in Doha. Mexico Shanghai winners, Shanghai Swans, sitting there in 3rd, ahead of the Prague Lions that are still looking for a win this season. The New York Empire looking looking for a big haul of points today. They are one of those 3 teams tied on a score of 4. So it could well be a very big day for them. And you can see there the likes of Stockholm Hearts, again, former winners here, would love the chance to do that again. There's points that you really need. The first round of today's Global Champions League really did give us a competition that has set itself up to be something really special in the second round because of the way it's kept all the teams close together. With those 3 teams on 4, then you've got that stack of teams, just 1 fence behind them, 7 of them, and then you've got those teams on a total of 12, 6 of those. So if a team can deliver a 0 score between both their riders in that next round, then inevitably it's going to give them a big boost. Well, let's have a little look back at the highlights. The biggest talking point, though, wasn't at the top of the table in so many ways when we got to the end of round 1. It was at the bottom of the table, because the big shock came from the team that went first, the team that sit first on the GCL standings after 8 legs, Longines United. Marcus Enning, Gilles Thomas came out of the arena in last place on a team score of 16. Now, they've going to come back again with a change of horses, but we'll see what happens. What a brilliant performance from the 2 British riders at home as the New York Empire, powered by Lugano Diamonds, putting in a tremendous round. Despite Robert Murphy picking up a score of 4, in came Scott Brash and Hello Valentino to fly around the arena with a brilliant clear round. Of course, the Istanbul Warriors are looking to try once again to win the title here, as they did last year. They're bringing Henrik von Eckermann into the second round, but Simon Delest and Abdul Saeed jumping for just the 4 in that opening round. They're pretty well placed just outside of those teams, of course, that they're on 8, so just outside those teams that are on 4, so only 4 penalties behind, and of course looking for another big helping of points. Shanghai Swans, of course, sitting 3rd on the overall standings. Well, they're going to top the board in round 1. Daniel Deusser was the first to go with Gangster, jumped a lovely clear round, setting a pretty good time, but then came his teammate Ben Mayer, the British star, in front of his home crowd, was able to jump as well. Although he did for 4, he jumped very quickly, and that certainly helped them out. Here comes the Prague Lions and their team of Niels Brunseels, who once again partnered up with Peter de Vos and Dorina J. And the Prague Lions in that first round, well, they come home on that score of 12, which means they've got a little bit more work to do, powered by the Czech equestrian team in the second round. And it was a shame, because 4 and 8, that's a little bit of a disappointed look there from Peter de Vos at the end of it all. There is a lot of twists and turns that will yet come our way. That is absolutely for sure. But that is the results after the opening round. Shanghai Swans, New York Empire, CanStars, separated by the clock only. They're level on points, or I should say penalties. And then you move into the teams on 8. So they're 1 fence behind, 7 teams. Then the teams on 12 from Mexico Amigos down, of which that counts for another 6 teams. Only 2 fences behind those leading trio. And then, of course, the shot, Longines United, they are in desperate need of coming in, jumping clear, and then hoping the others make mistakes so they can rise up the order and try and pick up a bigger helping of points here this afternoon. Whoever does deliver a 0 score for their team will be doing an extraordinary job and certainly help them move. But to do that, they've got to overcome yet another challenge from Uliana Vitsani. This track is the challenge that sits ahead of them in the second round of this Global Champions League here in London. Starting down in front of the hospitality, over fence number 1 at a height of 1.50 meters. That curved line to the golden fence, that 150 square parallel at fence 2. It's a key line here as well, because you have to look to try to come on the inside. If you don't want to waste too much time, it's the only turn available to you. Fence 3, 6 strides down to what is quite a delicate first part of this double. That's distance from riding a little bit short 155 going in, single stride at 8 meters 10, and then out over a 150 high, 155 wide, parallel at 4B. Again, though, you need to consider your pace and your position as you come around the corner. Coming away from home, not wanting to waste any time, and this really key line. So you jump from the marble fence, the 5 strides slightly on the curve, the slightly narrower GC fence in the middle, 155 by 160, and then over a set of Longines planks at 1 meter 60 on 3 strides after that little GC parallel in the middle. To the combination. Down in front of the Royal Hospital, Chelsea, the GCL combination starts at 1 meter 50, 1 by 160. 2 strides going in through the first part, 155 in the middle, and then 8 meters 40, 160 coming out, and it's a plank on top, not a pole when you watch it. And then 7 strides on the curve, opening up your horse towards that Lugano parallel. It's not the widest fence in the world, but it's still as tall as the rest of them. You're far from finished, because then you come back round on yourself. A little bit of a blind turn through the gap of the double as you come to the Prague fence, which stands right up to height at 1 meter 60, down over 11. Again, a big wide stretch, as it is at fence 12, which is quite awkwardly placed because you're sort of jumping in the wrong direction. You want to be able to turn left, and of course the fence is jumping you off to the right, and of course the clock is a consideration because you've got to get to 13 as fast as you can. It stands tall, it stands proud. It is the violin fence, 13 lucky for some, at 1 meter 60, the last challenge on this course set by that man, Giuliano Vizzani. And what, of course, designer he is. He really is the maestro, the perfect designer for this venue that was designed by the great Sir Christopher Wren some 300 years ago. Now, here we go with the lineup for round 2. There have been a few changes, but it's only horses that change for Volkswagen United now with Priam and Qualista. That team need a clear. So the Basel Cosmopolitans bringing in Jana's change of ride, Doretta alongside Torino with Sacha Nigard Lille, and then it'll be the Rome Gladiators who once again, Peter Fredriksson, but also bringing in a ride from Yali Cass. Kim Ebbin, Michael van der Vleuten for Madrid in Motion, Stockholm Hearts, powered by H&M We Love Horses, Power Up with Malin alongside Nicolas Philipp Arts. Then you've got the Prague Lions and the Czech Equestrian Team Powered Team with Niels Brunseels and Peter de Vos, HO5 Stables, Mexico Amigos, Petro Anderson and Nick Hunter, the 2 riders there. Then it's the turn of the Doha Falcons. You're into the teams on 8 here with Willem Vermeer and Bassem Mohammed changing their horses. No change in the team for the Scandinavian Vikings. They go again with Hogge and Amanda, as there is no change for the Riesenbeck International, powered by Horse Gym. Once again is Christian and Maximilian, and they stay with the same horses, and the same story for the Paris Panthers. Guido Grimaldi jumped the clear in the opening round. Celine again in that team. Monaco Comets powered by Iron Dames. Edwina comes into the team alongside Hannes Spare, who changes horses. Saint-Tropez Pirates once again with Max Watchman and Gregory Cotard. The Istanbul Warriors bring Henrik into the lineup on Iliana and Simon Deleuze. That's quite a power team. Cannes Stars, now the first of those teams on that score of 4, powered by the Iron Dames. Once again with Sophie and Catherine. Then you've got the New York Empire. Of course, it's Rob and Scott, but they've changed their horses too, as do the last 2. It's the Shanghai Swans, Daniel Deusser now with Vitello, and Ben Mayer now with Point Break. So there's been a little bit of chopping and changing. You've got those 3 teams that remain unchanged. You've got 9 combinations, in fact, that have remained unchanged. The rest of them have used all of the advantages they can to try and find a way into a better place in this second round of the GCL. It is leg 9 of the season, still 7 to go when it comes to the points being paid out, including today, and that means there's still 175 points available. Now this team that go first start the day on 179 points, and they lead the Global Champions League after 8 rounds of the season. They start the second round in London in last place. It is a big moment this year. Now, can they find a way to recover? Volkswagen United, Marcus Enning, this time on Priam de Rosset, really needing to try and find a way to lift this team out of the mire here in London. He's been such a long-standing part of Longines United. He knows how important this round is. That first round was the anomaly, and some days in sport you show your class not when things are going well, but when things are getting difficult. And today Marcus knows that it got difficult, and he has bounced back with Priander Rosset after the faults on Coolio. He has done what he needed to do. Over to you, Gilles Thomas, to follow up. We know it is inevitable that the teams that sit above them are going to have faults at points. If they can stick to the 16 that they start on, okay, they might not put themselves in a podium place, but they certainly will look to move on up. Well, now with Callista TN. Can he follow up? Gilles Thomas. Season on the Longines Global Champions Tour that's got him at the top of that overall standings, and he's just putting a little bit of pace into this round as well. Time's going to be important, but the clear round for the Longines United duo today is what counts most. They are desperate to hold to the 16, but he's come inside. No team in the opening round delivered 2 clears from 2 riders. What went wrong in round 1 is put right in round 2 as best it can be. The team that lead the overall standings doing what they can to pick up the pieces in round 2 with a quite brilliant duo of rounds from 2 beautiful partnerships. Marcus and Gilles already having a little chat about it, but that was what they needed. 16 is where they...
What an incredible response from Longines United, the worst placed team in GCL round 1, making them the first to go in GCL round 2, and they produced the first double clear of the evening, and they have done themselves a major service here. It's not enough to win today, it's not enough to probably finish on the podium, but hopefully it's enough to see them earn some championship points. Can that double clear keep the championship lead alive for them come the end of the night? That's the big question. But it's an outstanding double clear from Marcus Steining, from Gilles Thomas, and they keep Longines United on the 16 penalties that we saw them come into round 2 with. Basel Cosmopolitans are the next in. If you want to watch the rest of GCL live from London, sign up for that GCTV pass and come check out what happens in GCL round 2.